Indian politics is witnessing a historic milestone. And when I say historic, I mean that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to equal the record of Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, in terms of the number of days he has served in office as elected Prime Minister. And once that is done, he is going to outpace that. Now, there are a lot of things we can talk about comparing Prime Minister Narendra Modi with Jawaharlal Nehru, but I believe that what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has done, he has actually ushered the Second Republic. The data will be played on the screen, and I really don't want to get into it because it's going to be publicly available to everyone. Without wasting any time, let me introduce Ajay Singh, senior journalist, former press advisor to the President of India, and Dr. Ashwini Kumar, professor at TIS. And I start with this preamble. Is this the Second Republic? And I'll take this question to Professor Ashwini Kumar. Do you think it's the Second Republic under Prime Minister Modi?
Indeed, Karthike, this is not just historic in the sense of a paradigmatic and radical shift in the history of independent India, but also perhaps, it goes deeper and deeper, what the Prime Minister achieved, what I would like to say, this new republic, or the Second Republic, also radically reconstructs and reconfigures the very idea of India very differently, very differently. So, Prime Minister, I would go to the extent, as I have been talking about for a long time, that Prime Minister is uniquely blessed with very different kind of value systems in terms of ruling a nation. So I'm remembering, in the midst of night when India got independence, and people referred to the utterance of a repressed soul of the nation. Perhaps Prime Minister Modi has achieved that, realized that repressed soul of a nation. So what I'm trying to say here, in terms of political and sociological analysis of this milestone, that moving from the state-led project of development, or nation building, what the Prime Minister has done, I would go to the extent of, using ancient Indian ideals of kingship, something that, Prime Minister has arrived like a Chakravarti. So he's not just a ruler, but also becoming, in terms of the patron of a civilizational project. This is a huge qualitative difference between Nehru's project or Nehru's idea of India and the Prime Minister Modi's idea. And for this, only he should be given the credit.
Okay, let me go across to Ajay Singh. Sir, your opening comments.
Well, I entirely agree with Professor Ashwini Kumarji. I won't be able to articulate in this kind of theoretical fashion because I've been all my life a reporter. Thank you, sir. So, but yeah, he's right because you look at the rejuvenation of the temples all across India. I mean, construction of the temples and restoring it to pristine glory. So all those projects, uh, they were never conceived of as a part of the state action. So this is something which has never been achieved in the past, and as professors have said that it's a repressed soul. I mean, it's a kind of articulation of the repressed soul. So that is very much there, and it sends across a kind of cultural unity, message of cultural unity. So that is something which no other prime minister has achieved, and this Nehruvian model, which was substantially a part of uh, Gandhian uh, legacy. So that has been changed because he has reimagined the politics in a very d- different way, profound way. So I think the course of politics in on which he has set upon the country, it cannot be altered now. It will go on this path only. So that is my opening remark.
That is why I said the Second Republic, drawn from the very idea of the French Revolution. Because if Professor, if I am not wrong, it's the Fifth Republic. The France is defined, and it has not gone back to the First Republic. So okay, there are two things here. The Nehruvian consensus, the center of politics, is shattered. But there is one thing which defines this Prime Minister: his sense of unapologetic politics. One, his anchorage in the civilizational sense of Bharat, that's number two. And number three, and which is the most, and I would say the most important of all, the change is not political. The change he has instituted has been at the level of society, which a lot of prime ministers missed. They have their contribution, I am not here to belittle them, but the societal churn which Prime Minister Modi has created, brought about, is unparalleled. Isn't so?
Yeah, yeah.
Professor?
You want me to respond?
Yes. Yes.
Karthike, a couple of things, I would like to mention here. And Ajaji, thank you very much for appreciating my theoretical framework. Coming back here, something that is, I'm saying, if you look at what Prime Minister has done, and you have, Karthike, you spoke very eloquently about his project. And let's remember that Prime Minister is at the middle, of his journey, coming from a very humble origins, So if you look at the national project, the whole decolonization project, perhaps let's give credit to him leading this, decolonization project, and raising this, national renewal, national consciousness. So from, India, a elite-based, narrow-based conception of India or idea of India to a mass-based, a societal level. And let's not forget about more than 900 million people are under 35. So Prime Minister, that's what I'm saying, that he's arrived in the middle of his journey as a Chakravarti, and importantly, if you look at, in terms of the models, leadership model, and here I'm not using the Western paradigm, but our own paradigm, where the Prime Minister encompasses both ascetic ideals of the great Indian tradition and at the same time committed to advancing the economic aspiration of India.